Hi everyone. In this APAF F-16 training demonstration, we'll be covering the contents of CS-2, which deals with basic cruise formation flying. Cruise formations are how we maneuver to and from any given objective. If you're new to DCS, formation flying can be a very difficult skill to learn. These cruise formations lay at the core of everything we do in APAF. DCS presents us with some of its own limitations that can even throw off actual pilots. Rest assured, just like anything, it can be mastered by anyone willing to put in the time and practice. This skill will become even more important as we move forward into the next lesson and begin air-to-air refueling. Okay, so in terms of cruise formations, there's really only 4 formations that you need to know. But none of them are going to mean anything if you can't properly join on your lead aircraft. One of the biggest issues I see in newer pilots is blowing by their lead when trying to join up. I call this chasing the pixel. Because most people on DCS are in 2D, it's really difficult to judge closure speed on a given aircraft, resulting in something that looks like this. One way you can make things easier on yourself is by trying to join at an angle. We like to say about 45 degrees from your lead aircraft. From this angle, it can be a lot easier to control your closure to other aircraft by using small inputs to your throttle and stick. You saddle left.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so you've joined up on your lead aircraft, and he's going to have you switching between different formations, which could mean switching sides. So what's the best way to do so? One of the biggest issues with newer pilots is the temptation to pass over their lead aircraft when switching sides to avoid the wake of their aircraft. When you do this, unfortunately, since the F-16 doesn't have a transparent floor, you lose sight of your lead aircraft, which puts you at risk of a collision.
Quick pull up.
And DCS probably won't have an F-35 anytime soon, so this means you'll want to pass under the wake of your lead aircraft when switching sides.
We did some carrier landing practice, and I even surprised myself with 2 3-wires and a 2-wire. I was like, wow, I haven't done that in a while. Thought that would be a lot worse. I've been grabbing screenshots you can use as like a thumbnail or something like that.
That is lovely. We've made it to parade formation, also called finger 4. In this formation, we want to aim for having the missile tip of our lead aircraft covering their head from our perspective. And ideally, we want to have our head lined up with the rear ailerons of the lead aircraft. Okay, so yeah, actual parade formation is tighter than this. But remember when I said DCS has its own limitations? Well, one of those limitations comes in the form of lag, as with all games. In APAF, our pilots are multinational. Most of APAF is Canadian, with myself being from the US. But sometimes we fly with Aussies. This means that the internet needs time to travel to them and turn upside down. Basically, rubber banding can kill an entire flight, so frequently we're lined up in a loose parade formation such as this. Sure, you definitely want to strive for being able to tighten it down to 1 to 2 meters of separation, but the point here is that if you can get consistently within 5-ish meters, it's acceptable.
Flight, go left echelon.
2. For APAF, Echelon will usually be around 100 to 200 feet of separation at a 45-degree angle back from the lead aircraft in one direction.
Flight, go right echelon.
2.
Go fighter wing.
2. Combat cruise, also called fighter wing, is probably the most useful and comfortable cruise formation to fly in. For this, we imagine a 45-degree cone coming off of our lead aircraft. As long as we stay within the bounds of that cone, and within about 200 feet, we are in combat cruise. Combat cruise is extremely useful because it allows each member of the flight to maintain heads-up awareness while also monitoring the lead aircraft. Part of learning formation flight is learning how to maintain your relative position in a given formation as it turns and changes direction. You'll find when on the inside of a turn, you'll have to pull your power to keep from speeding past your lead. And the inverse is true. You may have to add power or even sometimes apply afterburner to maintain your position when on the outside of a turn. These are things you'll pick up and learn over time as you get more comfortable flying with other pilots. A few final tips I'd like to give you. 1. Get used to locking your eyes onto your lead aircraft as you can lose sight of them very quickly when not paying attention. This is why it's vital to have your aircraft set up properly before you get into the air. 2. It's totally normal to deal with oscillation when you first start learning these skills. Pilot-induced oscillation, or PIO, is when you are too low, so you overcorrect and end up too high. Then you overcorrect again and end up too low, and so on. If you find yourself doing this, the easiest way to correct is to let go of your controls entirely. The aircraft will correct itself. Once in level flight, breathe and try again. And the third tip is, this takes time. It is not an easy thing to learn for everyone, and that's okay. Just keep at it and I promise you will improve. Thank you for joining me on this APAF training video. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Altitude.